Yo, welcome to Disruptive Minds. I'm your host, Jerome A. Carter, the A stand for always learning. Look, I didn't even want to make this video I'm getting ready to make. I got my notes. I done wrote my notes. I've been writing notes, but the spirit hit me. I'm gonna say the spirit hit me. All right, so I need to make these next two videos. The spirit hit me, right? I got distracted. Welcome to Disruptive Minds. I'm your host, Jerome A. Carter, the A stand for always learning. Look, do churches sell chips? Now, I mean churches chicken. I know you're thinking churches chicken. No, churches. Churches, Pentecostal, Baptist, blah, blah, blah. Churches. Are they selling chips? What are chips? Chips is comfort, hope, inspiration, and prosperity. Churches have been pushing this chips for so long, and what results are they getting? What results are you getting? When I go into other neighborhoods and I do Uber and Lyft whenever I'm not driving trucks, because I'm just like being out and about, talking to people, interacting, right? When I go to certain neighborhoods, like there's a neighborhood on North Druid Hills in DeKalb County. Within, I would say, 100 yards, football field. Within the football field, there got to be about 5 or 6 banks. B-A-N-K, banks, money. There's banks. There's Chase, Wells, Bank of America, some other names I don't even know. When you go into Buford Highway, you see the Asian banks with the Korean writing or whatever. There's banks in these neighborhoods. When you go to quote unquote black neighborhoods, what do you see? Churches. For every 100 feet, there's a goddamn Baptist church. There's a such and such church. You'd be like, well, Rome, there's God, and you don't like God. I believe in God. I believe something somehow, some way made all this possible. I'm not saying the technology, the car, the ground. I'm not saying all that stuff. I'm saying for us to be breathing the air that we're on, we're a perfect distance from the sun, and the everything is just right. Everything is just right. It has to be created by something, some person, some entity, whatever. This whole debate about which sky god is different than your other sky god, it gets old. All of it gets old like that. You know when it gets old? First of the month. The 15th when your car note is due. When your insurance is due. When you go to Walmart to go get something to eat. When you go out to get something to eat. When you go get gas. All that doesn't matter. No matter what God you have in these United States, no matter what God you have in the world, when you buy something, it's going to cost you money. Can't manifest chicken eggs. Can't manifest something to eat. You got to pay for it. You got to do something to get money to pay for it. But see, when you go to certain churches, what do they have you thinking? Comfort, hope, inspiration, and prosperity preaching. Prosperity preaching that's just the thing. The whole Joe Osteen's, you know what? You just be smart, you stay focused, and you just keep doing what you got to do, and God's going to see you, and he's going to rain down on you your blessings from... Stop! Been hearing that for the past 30 goddamn years. You've probably been hearing it for the same almost 50. Been hearing that for years. Seeing the same aunties, uncles, cousins, God this, God that, God. And they're horrible. It's amazing, though, because once you start veering away from that, not necessarily not believing in God, but you start pushing harder in the area of, I need to get some things better for myself, not necessarily not believing in God, but you go a different route, all of a sudden things just start changing and things start happening. So, it's like the universe. So you go talk about the universe. It's not the universe. You gotta say God. You gotta say the Most High is Joshua and Hotep and da 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 da. Tired of all of it. It's old. It gets old. Then eventually some leader from somewhere that was online did something with the kids, and this is going on with these females, and this is going on, and because it's easy to manipulate people when it comes to that. It's easy to manipulate people when it comes to religion, because people, especially black folk, are so damn magical. Shout out to Sergeant Willie Pete. Sergeant Willie Pete, I listened to him. He's like, black people are just so goddamn magical. Magical and spiritual, magical and spiritual, magical and spiritual. Look at the most magical spiritual places on this planet, and you will see that they are going through the most stuff. They're going through the most stuff. Now, you may say, well, no, that's not true. Like my cousin always says, Danielle, that's not true. Yeah, you may find the exception to the rule in one or two countries or one or two areas, but places that are deeply into this magical spiritual stuff, they're catching hell. And I'm not just saying it because it's a spiritual thing. They're just like catching it. My thing is, why would they, when I say they, I would say the people who run this country, why would they push religion so hard to some groups and don't push it toward other groups? People crossing the border by the droves, they're not here because God told them to come here. They came here because they know this is the land of what? Prosperity. But once you get here, black people go to church and you hear prosperity preaching, which is totally two different things. Prosperity preaching and prosperity are two different things. Every week you hear prosperity preaching. It's going to get better. Keep praying. Keep your head. That push method crap. Pray until something happens. You've been people praying until something happens. I hear the stories of Pittsburgh when they're tearing shit down and building stuff and black people are displaced and blah, blah, blah. You hear that across the country. You hear it here in Atlanta. Because I only speak Pope Principle. What's his Pope Principle? Per se observe, per se experience. So I can talk about those two places. Why? Because I lived in those two places. I can talk about Charlotte. I lived in Charlotte. They're doing the same thing. It's a plan. It's not a coincidence. It's a plan. That prosperity does not work. Get your money up. Get your money up. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. Because it gets somebody to unthink something and think something else. It's frustrating. I don't waste my time on stuff like that. That's when I talk about like W.E.B. Du Bois, talk about the talented 10th. The talented 10th. That's who I'm talking to on these videos. The talented 10th. The talented 10th of people who are like, they see the bullshit for what it is. We need to move. Well, what about the rest of the community? We need to move. What about this? We need to move. Y'all can keep eating the chips. Comfort, hope, inspiration, and prosperity. Keep eating the chips. We're going to keep moving. It's just I'm stuttering because it's the energy in me right now. It's just like it's going up. I can just feel the energy. It's like just because it's for so long I've been believing that process. Wind down, get the emotions down, right? Management of emotions, energy. So for so long I've believed in that. And for so long, I was like, God's going to do this, and this is going to work out. And then, they told men like me, the good guys, and go to school, and you get the good woman, and you get the kids, and you buy the house, and you get the job for 30 years, and everything is going to be great. Right? Wrong answer. Wrong. You start to see real life, and real life starts really kicking your ass. When you start being like, well, pray harder, and God's gonna, pray, and God's gonna, you need to go to church, and you don't believe, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No. This is not the country for that. No. I'm here for you. Help me to help you to help us, right? Help me to help you to help us. That's why I'm making these videos, to try to shake you up a little bit. Maybe you need to be shook up a little bit. But nobody's talking to you on this level. They're talking to you about the women's. That's to the side. I may talk about that very little. Building, bids, building, existing, damaging, surviving. I'm about building. I'm trying to build 95%. 95% build, 5% existing, because I want you men to be better mentally. That way, when it comes to all those other things, you're going into it as a more focused person. Right? And I got something for focus too. I made up an acronym for focus. Focus means, you're forcing out unnecessary shit. You're forcing out, I forgot what the C is. I gotta go look at my notes. You're forcing out, I forgot what the C is. Unnecessary shit. It's focus. Anyway, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on chips. Men, you got to do better. We got to do better. I'm doing a lot better. I really am. Believe it or not, I'm doing a lot better. Because I'm more focused. I'm more me and Pam. Like I talked about Pam, purpose, aim, mission. And it makes things a lot easier to make decisions, being around people, dealing with people, and X, Y, Z, and la, la, la. It just, you need that. But just know, I'm only talking to the talented 10th. If you're going to still be stuck in your certain area and you're like, oh, yeah, good luck with all that. We're going to keep moving. You know, there's a TV show, I think it's a TV series about The Walking Dead. Zombies, and you know, the zombie movies, zombie land, stuff like that. And people always get to the house and there's somebody there and they're like, okay, I don't want to leave. I'm like, shit, not me. If I'm in that group and they're like, hey, room 10, I'm like, hey, 10, what you got? Hey, we're Claire, we're leaving the house. She don't want to leave. I'll leave her with some water. It goes to MRE, which is a meal replacement. Which is a meal ready to eat for the military. Here goes a gun with 9 bullets. Save the last bullet for you. But we're leaving. This isn't a movie where you sit there and try to convince this person that we need to convince them for 15, 20 minutes that they need to leave their house that they paid a mortgage for. Shit's breaking loose. Shit's breaking loose now. So we need to go. We need to go. Now, if you want to keep going to church, you want to keep doing your thing, you want to ignore everything I just said, more power to you. However, just like Dano said, you couldn't live with your failure. And what did that bring you? Back to me.